Good glorious afternoon to you all. I've been working out here again. Wonderful energy. So I've been raking up all the moss from around the little shed, and I've been giving it a good sweep out and getting things ready to give it another coat of wood preservative. I've set up my little washstand here because of course in here is my little compost toilet. This is my little compost toilet. As you can see, I've sectioned off part of the shed. I did that let me see, the beginning of last year, although I do have to fit this little door still. It expanded a little bit, so I've got to plane it down. Yes, I can do basic carpentry. So when it's closed, it's like this. So I've got two little windows there, part of a little window here, and of course I've put up some nets. And it's nice and private. And then when you come out, Jack's waiting for you. When you come out, you have this little setup here, which is very basic. This is rainwater, you see, and you just turn on your little tap. See, just run the water slowly. And here we have some nice scented hand wash and a towel hanging up here in the breeze. See, and then little scrubbing brush if you've been working in the garden, and then some nice hand cream there. So don't need to run the tap too much, just a little bit. And then when you're finished, give the bowl a little bit of a swirl and onto the bed. There we go. So that's a very simple setup. Everything's been repurposed in one way or another. Got some wild honeysuckle growing up around there. So I've got to buy a little mat for here. That's my next purchase, and I might get a little mat as well for down there. So I've got the major part of the work done. Look at this great big box full of moss that I've cleared from here. I'll just walk over this way. I'm not going to be walking about the garden for too long because I'm actually quite tired. And I've still got some tidying up and little bits of work to do, but it's all good. I am enjoying it. You get a great sense of accomplishment, you know, yourself when you've put a job on the long finger and you think, yes, I'll get round to doing that, I'll do that, and you don't get round to doing it. And then suddenly you think, okay, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to clean up, I'm going to tidy up, I'm going to get that work done. I'm going to sort of break the back of that work, which I feel I've done today. So I'm going to go now and sit down before I continue on. As you can see, I've got stuff to move, and I've been sweeping up here as well, and just general stuff. Right, so, and I still haven't planted up that bed, but it will be done. It will be done. So I'm going to sit down in my wonderful egg chair. Oh, what a fantastic thing this was that I got last year. Jack, yes, it's wonderful. So this is also day 7. It's day 7 of my juice fast. Wow. So I'm just going to put my camera down for a little bit, because what I was doing, I've just been sort of reading my book here, A Cottage in 3 Acres, the story of one woman's return to Ireland in her quest for Eden. And I'm going to read a little bit, and the reason why I've now got almost 11,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel, and there have been getting on towards 2 million views. And I don't have advertisement on the channel, as you know, and I am more than happy to put YouTube videos up. In fact, it's something I will do as long as I'm drawing breath. I will be putting videos up about Belton Cottage and about my life here and about the earth and about all the things that matter, and showing you how I've done things, showing you how how I continue to evolve, because we either evolve or we revolve, and the whole importance of personal evolution for me seemed to almost be distilled into what my family regarded as quite an extreme act, which was, of course, to have my flush toilet removed and to have a compost toilet set up. So I have one in my shower room here in the cottage. It's just a simple bucket system and it works fabulously well. And I also have the one that I've just shown you over there. So I'm going to be using my outdoors one now, really, from now through until about October, November, because it's more practical and it's only just across a little bit here from the back door, so it's not an inconvenience. Excuse the pun. I felt that one coming, you know, and I couldn't stop it. So, right, so back to my channel here on YouTube, and of course I'm a writer, and I've been officially recognised by not just the Irish government, the arts department, but of course by the taxman, by revenue.ie. So my income is derived almost solely from the books that I have written and sell from my website. There are very few writers who are wealthy. I certainly am not one of them, nor will I ever be. But that's okay. That's okay, because that suits me. Because, you know, I've even stopped doing the lottery. Well, I stopped a few years ago because I was concerned about winning a huge amount of money and how that would change my life for the worst. Now, having said that, I've often thought to myself, wouldn't it be fantastic if instead of these ridiculously huge monetary prizes in the lottery, there were lots of smaller prizes, so say, you know, 100,000 or even 500,000, half a million is a huge amount of money. It's massive. But it's, well, I suppose in my terms I've got children, so it's manageable. But I would just buy land. As simple as that. I would just buy land. And I'd be quite ruthless about buying land. I would be actually ruthless about it. I would go to the person who owned the land with a suitcase full of money. And I would just open it up and say, now, you have 24 hours to make up your mind. After 24 hours, this suitcase is heading in another direction. So I wouldn't be sort of, going to estate agents and, waiting with bated breath to see if the person accepted my offer and all that. Time is not on my side or on the side of anyone, really. Time, the clock of the heart. And I would just love to have some more land to plant trees. Anyway, I'm going way off piste again. So, yeah, I'm going to read a little bit of my book, A Cottage in 3 Acres. In fact, I'm going to read the final chapter. I don't even know if I've read this before on YouTube, but there's something about the ending of a book which offers a resolution, and I think with my book, A Cottage in 3 Acres, it offers a way forward. It offers a little bit of an understanding of who we are, where we are, and the path that we should be looking towards. The chapter's very short, by the way. So it's chapter 16, and this is it here. It's called Transformation and the Sacred Spiral. In his memoir of the Gallic War, Commentari di Bello Gallico, Julius Caesar wrote of the Celts that the principal point of their doctrine is that the soul does not die, and that after death it passes from one body into another. A firm belief in the indestructibility of the human soul, which merely passes at death from one tenement to another. For by such doctrine alone, they say, which robs death of all its terrors, can the highest form of human courage be developed. Yes, indeed, my ancestors believed in the transmigration of the soul because it made sense to them in the world they lived. Much of the deeply spiritual beliefs and practices of the Irish people can be related back to their ancient ancestors. These beliefs form a central part of understanding the world around us, that life does not end, and the cycles are simply that, cycles of life spiralling off into eternity. It has not been possible for me to disconnect my experiences with the land from a deeper spiritual understanding, for all is connected. This was the tenet of James Lovelock's Gaia hypothesis, that every part of Mother Earth, animate and inanimate, was connected. We do not live apart from her. The transformation of the land was, and continues to be, nothing less than magical. Working close to Mother Earth, one witnesses magic in every transformative process, from the butterfly emerging out of the chrysalis to the sourdough bread made from collecting invisible wild yeasts in an apple orchard. I made my first batch of sourdough starter by walking around the gardens holding a large bowl of flour mixed with water, rhythmically stirring the mix with a wooden spoon to create a vortex that in turn drew the invisible wild yeasts down into the mix. Now that was magic. How had I lived for so long without knowing this? My life had turned into an ongoing adventure, a journey of discovery where I felt more and more empowered with wisdom. This knowledge was ancient, dating back millennia. It should have been passed on from my mother or grandmother, but like so much of what we think we know, we have forgotten 10 times that amount. As the land transformed, so I evolved. My perceptions of everything in my life changed, and some more momentous than others. What I had learned about biodynamics years previously now began to make sense. It was like fitting pieces of a giant jigsaw puzzle into place in terms of my understanding of life, the universe, and beyond. The spiral is one of the most ancient symbols of spirituality known to man. In ancient Celtic culture, the spiral was associated with and the symbol of life and its mystery of interconnectedness. Several thousand years after the Celts, we discovered the spiral of life, the double helix. In molecular biology, the double helix refers to the structure formed by double-stranded molecules of nucleic acids such as DNA. It is amazing that such similar wisdom spanned thousands of years. Look closely at the natural world, and you will find the sacred spiral in much of the flora and fauna we take for granted. The intricate spirals on a seashell, an unfurling fern, even a pine cone. The spirals recognised in many flowers, for example, bring mathematics into the picture, as in the case of the Fibonacci numbers. In the case of tapered pine cones or pineapples, we see a double set of spirals, one going in a clockwise direction and one in the opposite direction. When these spirals are counted, the two sets are found to be adjacent Fibonacci numbers. It is not just flowers, but fruit too. Slice an apple in half to reveal the seed layout, and you will see the perfect order of the Fibonacci order. An apple has 5 sections. A banana, on the other hand, has 3. I often wonder about the amount of wisdom and knowledge lost down through millennia due to man's obsession with war and destruction. For as I live goddess permaculture in harmony with nature, I see more of the interconnectedness of life. Look closely and connect even more of the life you see around you. Look for golden ratio. Golden ratio is found in Fibonacci. For example, if you draw a regular pentagon, then add diagonals, a pentagram with 5 sides is formed. Make the sides of the pentagon and diagonals the same length, then the ratio between the diagonals and sides is called pi, which is the golden ratio. You begin to appreciate that mathematics is neither boring or disconnected from life. For a similar example in nature, look closely at starfish. Did you know that we also exhibit Fibonacci characteristics? Simply look at your hands, in particular a finger. The golden ratio can be found in the proportions of a finger. Keep looking all around you and you'll be amazed. The oldest spiral symbols are to be found here in Ireland, at the megalithic site of Newgrange, where these sacred symbols date back to about 3200 BC. Spirals are believed to represent movement through experiences in life. There's a bee. The Celts viewed this symbol as representative of the sacred journey of life, where we seek out wisdom and understanding of not just the world around us, but the connections between our world and the other world. The goddess is often associated with the sacred spiral, the tree of life and the snake. The snake is an interesting one in terms of transformation in shedding its skin. In the symbology associated with the great goddess, as in ancient Crete, for example, it is not unusual to see the snake twining around a staff, much like the pattern of the double helix. Snakes were seen as symbols of birth and regeneration. The spiral remains the enduring symbol of the goddess. It represents the womb, fertility, and eternal change and evolution. It is the symbol that connects us to our ancestors, for we read it, feel it, and respond deeply to it. It symbolises the eternal return of life and spirit. Yet we now inhabit a world in which ignorance of the spiral has brought us to tipping points in the ecological life of our planet. The tipping point has been reached. In ignoring our seasonal food spiral, much of our healthiest and most life-giving of food has become so depleted that we are in real danger of losing it. Salmon, for example, used to be a seasonal food. It was enjoyed at a particular time of the year during the permitted salmon fishing season. The salmon would return to Ireland to spawn, swimming furiously up the rivers to lay their eggs in dark, sometimes shallow, pools of fresh water, having survived a momentous journey across the Atlantic Ocean and into the fast, freshwater rivers of the west of Ireland. Now it comes from massive fish farms on coastal inlets, where even the pink colour of the salmon flesh is derived from colorants added to their food. Added to that, death and disease, always an integral aspect of any monoculture, has entered the frame. The main problem has been the spread of amoebic gill disease, blamed by some of the warmer seas caused by climate pollution. In 2012, 13,627 tonnes of dead fish had to be disposed of by 230 fish farms along the west coast of Scotland and on the islands, compared with 9,717 tonnes in 2011 and 7,159 tonnes in 2010. There has never been a more vital time in which return to understanding and embracing the sacred spiral of life is vital. The interconnectedness of all life is at the central message of the spiral. Looking back on this incredible journey, that for me began as a primitive urge to get back to somewhere, a place where everything was real, somewhere I could not just call home, but feel I had come home to. Much of it seems fantastical, like a dream. In the beginning, I had no idea why I had come to this place. I was flooded with this overwhelming urge to plant the earth. As a 15-year-old girl, a year before I moved to London, I often contemplated on the metaphysical, and in particular the belief in a monotheistic God. It seemed plausible to me, but heretical to the nuns who taught me, that we were living on the face of God, the earth. Suffice to say, I had not evolved to the point where I even considered the feminine, let alone the divine feminine. So confusion reigned in the reference to the earth as mother. It was decades later, in my quest to plant the earth, that the threads of the physical and the metaphysical began to weave together in the most natural and commonsensical ways. The mystery of the divine was both unravelled and rewoven into the most glorious technicolor tapestry of life, not yet finished. As we live, we make our journey towards the centre, where all is revealed. For this is where we find both spirit and light that reveals to us our relationship with the eternal force that is the divine. The in-between world in this incredible journey we call life, our albeit short opportunity in which we can become a voice for Mother Earth. I urge you to buy this book because for me it has represented some of my deepest thoughts. Okay? Some of my deepest thoughts, and the first time I've tried to articulate what this is all about. I think every video that I put up, every blog I write, every Facebook post, every Twitter post, every one of them tries to articulate what it is to live with Mother Earth. And there's 71 beautiful photographs in here. Here's 4 of them. And there's that bee. Temperatures have been quite high today. Been a glorious spring day. So on that note, I shall say blessings to everyone, and I shall go and make myself a nice pot of tea. Thank you, Roy. I'm enjoying that little teapot and the tea, the real tea. Blessings to you all. Oh, there'll be a link underneath where you can purchase this book. Thank you very much. Bless you for supporting this project.